right, good morning, road meeting December 3rd, 2024. What's going on, Mr. Bear?
Not much. Been a pretty, knock on wood, quiet week with the holiday. As I mentioned, I didn't put it on here, but I did get a message about Corbin and some dust issues late this morning, so I've got to go up north anyways today, so I'm gonna swing up there and put eyes on, see what's going on. But, yeah, we'll just see what it looks like. I don't anticipate it being very bad because it hasn't been bad, but maybe something's going on that we haven't noticed, so.
It's probably the upper portion up there where your complaint's coming from.
The call, she lives on Rifle, so it's down.
She
down
does?
in the middle of the section.
I know.
Okay. Yeah, so
Kresge.
we will know, I can't remember the
I
last
mean,
name, but yeah, on that
that's
same
her
area,
parents' name.
yeah. So I'll go take a look at it, see if there's an issue going on, something we need to address or just to put eyes on it. So, other than that, it's been fairly quiet, hadn't had any real calls.
Joined the meeting.
The guys up north been out monitoring the icy areas or shadowed areas, just making sure we're not having any issues. Been doing a lot of that the last couple of days. Little maintenance around the yard. We do have guys down helping Boulder. They're putting the snow fence up in Elk Park. They finally got their cows out last week so we could get in there. The one upper section was under new ownership, and we sent them a letter a few weeks ago and heard back from them. They're from Colorado. They were more than happy to let us get in there and keep continuing with our snow fence, so that would be nice to be able to get that up.
What road is that?
On Lowlands.
Lowlands? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we put in a few hundred feet down on the bottom, between the second culvert and kind of the upper portion of that little hill. And then we do a couple hundred feet up on top where you come out of the timber. Has always been really bad. We'd like to find a more permanent solution, but the cost of it is just so high that building permanent snow fence is probably something that'll never happen.
Does it seem to help?
Oh, tremendously.
Does it?
Yeah, until the end of the year when the snow fence is buried, yeah. Yeah, that's why we've looked at options for something more permanent or something that was like some panels that we could go in and just put up in the fall, but with the cattle in there, they're gonna knock a lot of stuff over, so it's gotta be pretty robust, and the cost is just, for as much as we'd like to have up there, it's just not feasible.
The road must be kind of down then, huh?
Yeah, it's in the bottom of that, well, the road's elevated, but it blows across them flats from the butte side, and it just blows and piles up on the road. So it just, once it hits that little crest, it stops. But it gets pretty bad, especially up on top coming out of that timber. There's just a small, I don't know, maybe 5-10 acre section that's open park that it comes across, but there's been times where we've had a few feet of drifts across that road, so definitely helps. Boulder guys, we did a lot of cleanup in the yard the last couple of days with guys taking time off and stuff, so got some projects finished up there, getting that snow fence in, and then tomorrow we're gonna have Montana City guys come down, go down to that Nez Pierce Road in Elk Park. They did millings on it many years ago, and it's kind of been forgotten about. In the last 100 or so feet is pretty blown apart, so we're gonna go fix that up tomorrow, take a grader, some more millings, and get it patched up so it's not so bad.
How far do you go in there, Bear? On that?
Just to the end of the asphalt cattle guard.
Oh, okay.
It's only about a half a mile stretch of road that's ours.
Okay.
Once it hits cattle guard, it goes to Forest Service.
Right.
Do you roll that after you, or are you just gonna?
Yeah, we're gonna
Great.
take the grader, the water truck, and a roller down, and a few loads of millings, kind of cap it off and water it and roll it real good, so it's nice and solid.
Would the dust pods bind that better than just dry, or
I don't think it's enough
to worry about?
I haven't seen enough benefit from them on the millings. When I've talked to Wayne, he says, oh yeah, it helps, but millings done right doesn't need a binder. If it's good millings.
Gotcha.
So in the 90s, most of the states changed their specs on asphalt, late 90s. So if you can get older millings, it's gonna be really good. The newer stuff, you usually have to add some form of a emulsion back into it to rejuvenate.
That makes sense.
So this pile that the city has over at the state yard that they got off of Main Street, it is some excellent milks.
Yeah.
They are so good. You have to take a machine, a track hoe over there to break the pile up because
Oh,
just sitting there, they're getting hard. And,
Is that rich in oil, huh?
yeah,
Wow.
so we're, skimming as much as they'll let us off the top on that
Wow.
one. They've been pretty generous with them, but I'm pretty sure they're gonna say, hey, we need some of those too. And it's kind of an agreement. They are planning on putting what they have left on Thompson Street and then the road that loops around the fire hall out there at Bull Mountain. So when they do that, they don't have an operator or blade or anything, so we're gonna go out and help them lay that out, do the millings on that road. So then down south, the guys have been working on Cedar Hills. It's pretty sad to say that it's December and we're grading roads. But it was
Amazing.
pretty washboardy. We fixed up a bad part a couple weeks ago and we had a little break. But there's still on the east side from the very top over to about Grace Lane, I think it is.
Right road, yeah.
Yeah, it was still really blown apart, so they're getting that cleaned up. Should have the rest of Cedar Hills done today, they're anticipating, so. And then just a few little items, I was gonna show you a little bit about the road guard. Real quick, we had a really interesting meeting with them last week and really a cool little project. So a lot of this won't matter, mean nothing to you. This is just our login screen, but we can do graphs that will show us like bad spots. We can go back and look at the dates and it'll show basically potholes, which is kind of neat to see. This is some pretty high level, very high level information because it breaks into all the different gyroscopes that they have, satellite connections, temperature readings, a lot of variables that we can dive into as we start learning the program more.
Goodness sakes.
Yeah.
That's pretty detailed.
The big one for us right now is the maps. So they said this just automatically turns on with the truck, starts recording and uploading information regardless of anything else. There's no switches or anything involved. We don't have to worry about doing anything.
Do you ever have to download that to something else?
No, I don't have to touch it.
Not at all, huh?
Yeah.
I'm sure in the clouds.
Yeah, so it has its own cellular service, so it just automatically updates. It's on a, I can't remember if you said a 30 or 60-second refresh, that it just uploads every 30 to 60 seconds, as long as it has service.
Wow.
But really a lot of stuff, we can change the map types. There's a lot of parameters that we can break into. We can look at speed traveled. Peak is a good one to look at potholes. The RMS, and it's another scientific term that I can't remember off the top of my head, but essentially how much that deviates from your average is what that's telling you. So whether the truck's bouncing up, down, sideways, whatever, that's how far out of that average. So it's one we like to look at. We can break it down by days. We can change the window for the dates. We can also change the intensity. So if we want to bring it up and only look at the really bad spots, we can do that as well. One thing is there's no way for the system to differentiate asphalt or state highway, county road, or anything like that. It's just anywhere I drive. But we can go in and select certain parameters. So by going into speed, and he hasn't changed it on here. Yeah, I'd have to go into my user settings. I don't remember what the actual, it was like 70, I think. It was about 45. So that's one way for me to eliminate interstate and different stuff. So the one thing that it does, so it's constantly learning and comparing the data. So when we have the interstate involved, it's showing a lot of miles of really good road. And then it's holding our roads to that same standard. So really having the interstate included makes our roads look worse.
Right.
So when I take that away, it makes our roads look a little better in general. You can see there's a lot of variation in the coloring. Everywhere from bright green up to red, and then all the different shades of red, yellow, and green.
Whitetail's looking pretty good. There's a couple of red.
Yeah,
spots
there's
there.
some, and it's kind of amazing when I look at it, like, I don't know why this is in the yellow, because this is pretty bad to me, so it's something we'll kind of learn how to judge for ourselves and narrow these parameters up. But it is really kind of, kind of makes you feel pretty good when you pull this up after not grading roads for a while and see that comparatively speaking, our roads are in generally good condition. Right now, like I said, it's showing them in worse condition than it would if I had the interstates, because I took that out of the equation. One to just kind of highlight here. As you can see, the majority of that's in green to yellow. There is the red. This is a known bad spot. It's that last curve as you're coming into the town of Wicks. It always washboards really bad.
Washboards tend up being red.
Oh yeah. And the more the truck moves, the redder it gets.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So whether it's like a big pothole and it's just moving once and it's deep, or if it's repetitive, it's gonna show a worse road condition. And there's a lot of stuff we can do as we start playing with it more, as far as filtering out regions. Like I have to run in and get parts a lot, so I can filter out Helena, so it's not showing every stop I make and not taking all the city streets into the equation. Lots of other there's a lot more we can do with this than we're prepared to do right now. But just seeing the data is pretty nice. The company representatives will be out here in March for Mackers to give a presentation up there and to answer questions. With the meeting we had, it was pretty neat because we are only the third unit in the United States being used right now.
Wow.
They're that new to this market. They are not a new company. They've been doing this with mines for a long time. They have a lot of other products. They have one for dust detection. They've got one for driver safety. That's a cab connect thing. I can't remember what they were explaining. They have a lot of other assets that they have developed. This is just kind of the next step in their evolution as a company. They said they got about 17 of these worldwide between us, South America, South Africa, or other places in Africa, Australia, and Europe. So they're really evolving the program. It's really great because they want us to reach out with any ideas and things that we want to be able to do different. They're on the spot with making any changes or upgrades that they can figure out.
That's pretty amazing.
One thing that I had talked to them about that they're working on implementing now is to add in a layer for elevation changes. So we can show, these areas are constantly red, but it's because we're having a road that's this percent of grade or this much elevation gain.
Yep.
So we can look at, maybe it's just the nature of the beast with that steepness in that road. So once we get more into it, we can run reports. It'll send me reports and notifications, and there's things that we can look at, and something that I'll probably look at including in my weekly meeting is I can do I don't know if this is gonna work or not. With the report, yeah, this was not gonna work. It'll show your 10 worst spots of the specified date period. It'll show a location of it on a map, and then if it's available, and most of the county roads it doesn't have available, but if there's a Google Street View of that location,
Yeah, I'll pick you up, buddy.
it'll show a picture of that on the report as
All right,
well.
see ya.
Yeah, it was, maybe someday we'll get to where we have more Google Street Views, but we can do that, like you can see on the Whitetail, there's a bad spot. I can go there and it'll take me to the road and I can,
Wow.
and this is based off of Google Maps and stuff, but we can look like, oh yeah, this is a known problem because we have a creek coming through here or something.
Recognize the spot. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just
Have them add a camera function where it clicks on the camera when you hit a bad spot.
right. Well, something that I'm gonna talk with them about is if there's a way to integrate. So my dash cam that I have in my truck has GPS as well, and I'm wondering if there's a way to integrate those together, but I don't know if there is. That's something we'll we'll have
If
to.
you had too
dive
much
into-
video, man, that'd be a lot of data. Holy cow.
Yeah, yeah.
But
So,
if you could just hit the bad spots, like if you hit the red, record the red spots or something.
Yeah, the rest of that, a lot of,
That'd be a lot of them.
most of these red
Lot
spots,
of
we
memory.
know where they're at. If I needed to, I can always go into the cloud on my dash cam and pull the video and pictures off of it.
Right.
We know where our
Yeah, I
trouble
guess
spots are.
Guess it exists anyway, you know, and
So, but it is really neat. There's a lot of stuff, like I said, they're working on, changes and upgrades, and so it's,
really neat.
really gonna be really neat. The biggest key for us right now will be making sure we're, especially come spring, is hitting all the roads and trying to keep up on a routine of making sure we're getting at least the major areas driven and checked and keeping up on it. I think it's gonna pay for itself just in guys call and say, hey, this road's not that bad. Do you really want us to grade it? And I can pull this up and say, just do the first quarter mile instead of spending 2 days on lump gulch. We only need to avoid a quarter mile and get out of there in a few hours. Sure. We'll save a lot of time and money and just manpower and equipment time. So, any questions I can try and answer? I'm still learning a lot, but it's gonna be.
Really neat.
so will you at one time, or, I mean, this upcoming year and stuff, you'll probably have gone through all these county roads, right?
I've hit the majority of our county
Have you
roads already. There's a lot of little ones I haven't done yet. There's like the non-maintains, I haven't worried about those because it doesn't really matter, but the majority of our maintained roads I have hit, sometime in the last 3 weeks that I've had it. So.
The commissioners have view access only, or?
Once we get some things worked out, they're gonna put together some groups where I can get logged in and create, like a commissioner login, so you can pull it up and see it. So if you do get a complaint, you can pull it up and I'd walk you through how to do it. You can click on a section of that road. I should have showed you that too, but, you can click on the track and it'll show you the date that it was traveled, the time it was traveled, the rate of speed it was traveled, how much variation in the drivability of the road and everything. So that way, if you do get complaints, at some point in the future, we'll have it set up that you can just pull it up and say, well, there's a pothole, but the rest of the road's in good condition. It's not worth getting out there right away, or, give you some information to back up instead of just, hey, can you go look at this? So,
Right.
yeah. If it is feasible, if we decided we wanted to, at one point, we could create a public login and put it on the website. My concern with that is that if we had an area that we don't get to a lot and it's in the red, or somebody's gonna say, hey, this is in the red, why haven't you graded it yet? Or somebody might look and see, hey, you haven't drove this road in 2 weeks, why haven't you been out there?
Lots of
There's
variables there.
some variables, just with the residents not fully understanding all the time how and what we do.
Right.
Not that I'm trying to hide what we do, but it may generate some other issues as well. So we'll play with it and see. And if we get to the point where it's working and we're able to stay up on it, it might be something for down the road.
It's incredible.
Yeah, the technology that's available, and there's more stuff coming through the pipelines too, so.
No artificial intelligence involved, it's just,
Yeah,
Just old data.
yeah,
it's
Just
feeding
putting data
vibration,
into-
it's feeding vibration.
Yeah.
And anytime there's an update, you'll get it.
Tremors, the movie Tremors.
Any
Yeah.
updates, you'll just get them if there were any updates
Oh, yeah.
automatically.
Yeah, it's pretty neat that just a little plastic box with some stuff in it does that much. It's pretty neat. Just some other quick highlights. We got our safety meeting Thursday at 7. I do have a board meeting for Mackers next week in Lewistown on Thursday that I'll be going to. And then I think I mentioned, but I'll be out of town the 17th through the 21st in Utah to do a wedding. So I won't be here for this. Probably won't be here for the 17th meeting.
Okay.
I was gonna wait and leave that afternoon, but I really don't want to be driving down there in the dark, so.
No road meeting on the 17th then?
No, make sure Dylan's lined out, the guys know what they're doing.
You can send
Sure.
Dylan in and do the report. He'd love that.
He would, he'd do it. I don't know what kind of chaos he might create, so.
True.
We do have our position closing this Friday for that Montana City vacancy I've seen 2 applications come through. I know there's been a few other guys that have reached out that should be applying. So hopefully we have a good pool to draw from. If not, I'm gonna run it again because I'm not gonna settle for whatever we can get this time. But then the one last item I didn't put on here because I thought about it on my way out this morning was, that Family Dollar next door to our shop. We're already gonna do a fence between, but it's getting to the point where they don't even use the driveway on our side anymore. They just drive through their little ditch because the driveway's so rough. So I mean, we're getting daily close calls coming out of there. I talked with Wortman from the city this morning, and I got to follow up with the administrator to just double check the subdivision regulations on it from the city side. That driveway off of Odyssey was supposed to be an emergency egress only. They were supposed to sign from Venture Way, and they've never done that. But from what we understand, we could put some cones or something across that road, or even a gate, because it's just there in case the other road gets shut down or blocked, and force them to use the other driveway. This winter, once we finally get some snow, it's gonna be blocked anyways, because I'm gonna plow snow into it. But it is a constant issue. I mean, yesterday alone, we had 2 or 3 semis come driving down into our yard, trying to figure out how to get over to there without using the front driveway access. And they're not driving slow. They're coming through at high rates of speed. Almost hit one of the solid waste drivers the other day. Yeah, we got guys out there doing work and equipment moving around. We can't have that. So,
Show the dollar store on this one.
no,
They're cutting through here all the time.
well, it's on the right side of that yellow, right, just where your cursor's
in
at,
there.
yeah. So that whole stretch is, you know, they put a ditch essentially in between Odyssey Lane and their parking lot, but it's flat enough that people just drive through it. And they're coming whipping right out from the building when you can't even see them. Lots of close calls. They don't stop when they're coming out of there.
Right.
So we're at the minimum. I've talked to Wortman. We got some fencing supplies on order just to put in a basic fence across there. But for now, we're gonna get some signs made and put up a couple posts to keep people out of our area. See what that does. But if it doesn't get any better with that, then I'm gonna look at blocking off their road. Because we can't have any accidents.
Yeah, no kidding. If they're whipping in and out of there.
And you would think that, I mean, it's just a 20-foot access on that side, and they had messed up when they did their utilities and paved it before they finished all the utility installs, so they trenched across it, and now you've got a pretty good rough ditch across their own driveway. That people would go around and use the nice, big, freshly paved 30-foot wide access road.
It's 50 more feet they gotta drive.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's what we've got for now. Just waiting for some snow. Looks like we're gonna be able to get a few little projects done this week and next week. We'll just show a little bit moving in around the 18th and 21st, but like I said, every time I look and see weather in the forecast, it disappears another week later.
Yeah. Pretty crazy.
It'll be a little dry.
Are you caught up on all the tree trimming now?
Oh, no.
On the road? No?
Never caught up.
That'll be
done.
ongoing.
Yeah, that's a, tree trim is not a priority job for us
Right.
unless it's a hazard. We do have 2 or 3 big cottonwoods down there on Elkhorn Creek right by Buster Pit entrance that are leaning pretty heavy across the road, and we're gonna go down probably Thursday afternoon and take a excavator down and help drop those, because those will probably come down in the very near future. And they're big cottonwoods, they'd kill somebody. But other than hazard trees, tree trim is not a priority. I've reached out to DNRC to see if they're interested in continuing what we did on Lund Gulch last year up on potentially McClellan Creek or Travis Creek, and just get some more trimming done that way. But it's more of a fill-in job when we don't have other stuff going. And it'll never end. Every road we have needs trees cut down on it, other than lower by Alcohol. Dunway might be the only one we don't need to cut a tree on.
Anything else, gentlemen? I got an email from the folks up Travis Creek. They were having problems with the sand on the road,
couple weeks ago when it snowed up there. And they said that the road department was doing a great job. Everything looked really good up there. That was last week, I guess they sent
Yeah,
that
that
to
was
us.
over the weekend, I think.
Yeah, so they were.
Wow, that's a tough crowd up there.
It is, yeah, they were happy with what was getting done up there, so I think the week that they were complaining, it was just a tough week, it was freeze thaw.
That's when we had that rain and then everything was melting and refreezing and
Yeah, the sand we did put either got blown off or melted into the ice, yeah, it was a tough week.
I don't think it helped our cause any that, Lewis and Clark, who has a lot more resources, were able to do their side of the road faster than we were to ours, so it made us look a little bad, but
Yeah.
I went down theirs a ways and they're not putting down any more sand than we were.
Mhm.
And there were a few spots, you had mentioned that they said it was a little light. When I went up there, there were definitely some spots where they were light. We talked about it. Adjusted the calibration on the sander a little bit, so it should be doing a better job now.
Is that mixed with salt or is it just pure sand?
They were probably just using straight sand on that stuff, because it doesn't do any good to put salt on it right now.
Melts into it. When you go up to Corbin, I guess you'll be running your little machine anyway, just cause I ran Corbin the other day in my car and it about rattled my teeth out. It's getting rough, even where we patched it, it's starting to get pretty rough.
It's surprising to hear things, because we had, was it last week? A week or so ago, we had two different people reach out during all the ice and snow when it was real bad. And said that they were really concerned with how it was gonna be in the winter, and they said it was actually better than driving on asphalt, because they weren't slipping and sliding anywhere. And
Yeah, I think it's gonna do good once the snow gets stuck in there and stays, it'll plug some of those. Like you say, I think it's the millings working their way up and all the fines are getting blown out and it's just, yeah, then you're driving just on the chunks of milling, so it's pretty rough.
yeah, we'll see.
Not much we can do with it now, but if you just take a look at that,
Yeah, no, I'll definitely be, I'm gonna head there right after this meeting, so. Go see about the dust and drivability. See if we need to try and get something done this week up there before we get cold again.
yeah.
So,
We got somebody on Zoom. Can you identify yourself? You on the phone, on Zoom?
Gone.
All right, very good. If we don't have anything else for Bear, I guess we will be done.
No.
hey,
Thanks, Bear.
yeah.
Appreciate it. If you didn't want to.